Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to the Mark Richt Show, brought to you by Williamson Automotive. Joe Zagacki alongside Don Bailey Jr., and the coach joins us momentarily. DBJ, the Hurricanes are coming off a good win, 31-6 over the Duke Blue Devils.
Joe, I think it's a very impressive win, especially if you look at what happened in the running game for the Miami offense. They doubled the production that Duke had allowed the first month of the season. Also, your defense came out and didn't allow a touchdown the entire game. That doesn't happen too often against a Coach Cutcliffe offense.
It sure was fun watching Ahman Richards run.
Yes, it was. He's spectacular, and you see that he's a national talent, and the fact that he was recognized last year as a freshman All-American, his ability to run routes and come up with the catch, but how he walks the sideline, haven't seen anything like that in many, many years.
It's Florida State week. Are you ready?
Yeah, always ready. We've been counting 14 days we were 14 days away when we started the season, and we come back from Irma, we're 14 days away again, and now it's here.
Don't be deceived by Florida State's 1-2 record. This is going to be a very desperate, passionate team.
Well, I just go back and look at what happened to Florida State. First of all, opening with Alabama, and do you expect them to win? I guess if you're a Florida State fan, you hope they're going to win. Alabama's beaten a lot of folks, and then they were stalled by the storm as well. They lose their starting quarterback, and this was a top 4 or 5 team a month ago. There's still a lot of top 4 or 5 team talent on this football team.
Miami and Florida State will kick it off on Saturday at 3:30 from Doak Campbell Stadium. Right now, let's take a look back at the Hurricanes' latest victory. They go to 3-0, defeating Duke. Our highlights are brought to you by UL Sports Medicine. We'll get you back in the game.
Hey, yo, we got to dominate, baby. We ain't come up here for nothing else. We came up here to dominate. Y'all know what time it is, man. That's all we got to do, man. Dominate on 3, dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Say what you want, man. That's a great victory. Undefeated team, played a lot of emotion. Everybody, you gotta celebrate this victory. Let's go.
once again, everybody, and welcome to the Mark Richt Show. Joe Zagacki alongside my broadcast partner, Don Bailey Jr., and, of course, University of Miami head coach Mark Richt. Our show brought to you by Williamson Automotive, and the Hurricanes run their record to 3-0 with a victory over the Duke Blue Devils, 31-6. Coach, big week. It's Florida State week, but nice win against the Blue Devils.
It was a good win. All wins are good.
Yep.
I get excited about those, but Duke's a very good team and had a tremendous setting that night. You know, I'm not big on playing on a Friday night, but the night game, the cool air, it felt good to everybody. It was a beautiful night to play football, and we started fast on both sides of the ball and hit a couple bumps in the road here and there, but that's to be expected when you play a really good team.
Malik Rozier, coach, just once again seems to do darn near everything you're telling him to do, or putting the team in a position to make big plays.
Very few decisions that were troublesome. There's one that, you know, he threw up for grabs. Basically, the ball popped up in the air as he was getting hit, and really probably should have tucked it and ran or something like that. And then there might have been another ball that, or even a run. There was a run game decision that wasn't right, but I'm talking about maybe two out of the whole game. So I'm not trying to pick at him. I'm just saying that if you only have those two problems in the entire football game, you did a great job. And the thing I was most proud of was just him standing in there when guys are bearing down on him and throwing strikes. The first touchdown to Barrios was a great example of that.
Coach Mark Walton against Toledo, 204 rushing yards, and we saw everybody knew what he could do on the ground, but you really saw him shine as a receiver this week.
Yeah, we knew there was going to be a lot of man coverage. We thought the matchup was going to be good. You know, we didn't know he was going to run out of his shoe again, and but it was amazing that on that first little option route that he ran, where he, you know, the linebacker started going wide and he slipped underneath him, and Malik put it on the money, and right as he was cutting, the shoe fell off, and so he's running down the field jumping over people with one shoe and one sock, and made a great gain. And the reality of that play, I don't know if anybody could go back and look at it, but we had three guys downfield blocking their tails off, and I think the left shoe fell off, and he's right on the left sideline, and normally he'd stick his foot in the ground and cut across the grain. I think he'd have walked in, but he just was kind of slipping and sliding and couldn't get that done. But yeah, Walton, I think, had 70-some yards receiving and another 50-some yards rushing. So I mean, he had a good day. Over 120 yards of total offense.
You've won 8 games in a row going back to last year by an average of 21 points a game. And so it's one season bridging the other, but are there some common denominators that you've seen from your team in these games?
You know, I think we're playing pretty good defense.
Yeah, we got to get to that in a moment. Yeah.
But, you know, that helps a lot. And we have, to this point, secured the ball pretty well. You know, you don't want people talking about jinx and things and all that kind of thing, but you know, you don't want to brag about something, but we really have done a good job of securing the football as runners. We have had a couple picks, and mostly the two that he threw were more of an overthrow of a receiver than just a bad decision. Now we had a bad decision last game that didn't turn into a pick that maybe could have or should have, but for the most part, Malik has not just thrown the ball recklessly. He's had a purpose every time he's thrown it, and then, you know, if it's not there, he's been running. You know, we had a little bit of zone read where he pulled it and ran, a little bit of quarterback draw, a little bit of scramble yardage. You know, all those little hidden yardage plays are outstanding when the quarterback can move like that.
We're going to talk about the defense in the next segment, of course, preview Florida State as well. But while we're on the offense for a moment, just the team in general, the way they came out, their spirit, their emotion, the execution at the beginning of the game, how proud were you? I mean, they came out and made a point that we're prepared to play this game.
Yeah, we executed at a really high level. I mean, some things that we did, first 2.5 series, you know, was really good. It might have been at the change of the quarter or something, because we had just completed a ball to Cager, I think it was, and maybe that's not exactly the case, but the first drive, the second drive, the beginning of the third drive just executed beautifully, and then things started bogging down. Then one time, Malik, you know, he thought he had something, and he checked to this, and it wasn't right, and then it just we had a series or two that just were duds.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk about the Hurricanes' defense against Duke, plus Florida State is on the horizon, all of that and more as we continue right here on the Mark Richt Show. Happy to welcome you back to the Mark Richt Show, brought to you by Williamson Automotive, Joe Zagacki and Don Bailey Jr., and of course the coach, University of Miami head coach Mark Richt. The Hurricanes will be in Tallahassee this week to take on Florida State with a 3:30 kickoff, coming off a very impressive win against Duke, where your defense was really tremendous. Duke held Duke without a touchdown in the second half.
Right. Well, held them without any points in the second half and no touchdowns the whole game.
Right, the whole touchdown, that's correct.
Yeah, so I mean, it was, you know, there were the moments where they're driving the ball a little bit, getting a couple first downs, and they ran the ball better than we would like them to run. I think they averaged over 5 yards a carry, which isn't too exciting, you know, for our defense. But when it came to red zone defense and keeping them out of the end zone, it was huge. And, you know, I think like one of the drives early on where we got a fourth down stop, first of all, they went for it on fourth down. Well, why'd they go for it on fourth down early in the game? Well, we scored 2 touchdowns. It's 14-0. They're like, man, can we stop these guys? We might better go for it on fourth down. And then, you know, Pinckney shoots the gap and gets the sack. And, you know, fourth down stops are like gold. I mean, it really is a turnover. And they probably should be able to wear the chain for that, by the way, when you think about it.
Throw that in there, right?
Give it to whoever made the tackle.
Yeah.
Because really, you know, fourth down, if they're going for it on fourth down, when you stop them, it's a turnover, really. And so, you know, to keep them out of the end zone is huge. I mean, 3s instead of 7s, do that twice in the red zone.
40 points a game.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really good team, and I think people are going to see that. They already have seen it. They've played good teams, and they've beaten them soundly. So, you know, we had a great challenge on both sides of the ball. The defense knew the quarterback was a big, strong, physical runner who could throw, and he did throw it well. I will say this, by the time it was over, I think he threw it 40 sometimes for only like 100 and some yards, you know. So he completed some balls here and there, but nothing big, you know, no deep balls that were of significance. And you know, they're kind of pecking away. But then when it got down in that red zone, we shut them down, and it was a really beautiful thing to see.
With the aggressiveness on that side of the ball, your defensive side of the ball is still there. A bunch of tackles for loss to combine with the sacks 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mentioned the one tackle for loss when Pinckney shot the gap. You know, that was one of the bigger ones because it kept, you know, points off the board. It could have been, you know, a touchdown drive there, and it wasn't. But sacks, you know, when you get negative yardage plays on rushing plays, that's when you're really penetrating. And again, that's the MO of our defense. You know, our defensive line in particular. We want penetration. We want to create a new line of scrimmage, and pushing linemen back and not letting them get that double team and come off to the backer when they go from, you know, 2 guys working on a down lineman trying to get up to a backer. You know, our down when you're physical and stout and you're penetrating, and it's all you could do just to keep the guy from getting in your backfield. With two linemen, it's hard to get off on a backer and make a big play. So our down lineman played well.
Pinckney played well. You mentioned the fourth down play. You had the interception, so he got the turnover chain.
Sure.
He was the second leading tackler.
He's the perfect guy to wear that.
Oh, yeah, he looked good with it.
That's his style, man. He loves that. But, well, they all love it. But, yeah, Pinckney played good. He's got a great knack for the ball. He understands. You know, like, if a play's going outside, you know, a linebacker is taught to take on a block a certain way, and they'll do that because you don't want to give up a gap. But every once in a while, you could dip under if you know you got the speed and the space to do it. If you dip under and you're wrong, it's a big play, you know. So the little things like that, you know, he has a feel for, and he has the ability to do, and he loves the game. He's a fun guy to be around.
Well, how about the turnout of Hurricane fans at the ball game?
Yeah, they
Coach?
were there.
I mean, they were in force.
They were there,
not?
man. Yeah, they're awesome, and they're loyal to the bone, you know.
Oh yeah.
But you know, at the end of the game, they were making their presence known, And then our players did a great job of thanking them after the game and just spend a little time with them.
How do you feel about Florida State week?
Oh, I mean, I'm excited. I mean, these are the games that everybody should get excited about, man. I mean, we play so much national TV now. It used to be certain games were national TV, but I think the nation likes to take a peek to see what's going on with Florida State and Miami. So we know that's a big deal, and it's just it's a game that we know means so much to everybody. It means a lot in the conference play and the conference record and who ends up in Charlotte, but it also means a lot in recruiting because we're in the same state and we're battling for the same kind of kids. And you know, so there's a lot riding on it for sure.
All right, we're going to talk more about Miami and Florida State. It's a 3:30 kickoff coming up this Saturday. Back with more of the Mark Richt Show right after this. Welcome back, everyone, to the Mark Richt Show. Joe Zagacki and Don Bailey Jr., former University of Miami team captain and center, along with Hurricanes head coach Mark Richt, and coach the Seminoles. This is going to be a very desperate and passionate Florida State team.
I mean, it's going to be a battle royal for sure. I mean, we know that. We know. I think you know, when the teams are maybe both in the top 5 or top 10, the whole nation sees that type of game. But you know, no matter what the records are, we know it's going to be that kind of a game, and a lot of heart and soul and energy and passion and physical play. It's going to be fun to watch.
Seems like with them, it all starts up front. For years and years, they've had a great defensive line, and again this year, very deep and strong up front.
They are that. I mean, I don't know how to explain it other than they're you know, we like to create a line of scrimmage in somebody's backfield. They make a living doing that too. And Odell Higgins is over there coaching the D line, and you know, he was, you know, freshman when I was there, you know, and great player, great All-American, and then now a great coach. And they played like his personality. He was always very aggressive and tough and physical, and that's how they play up front.
Coach, they're starting the freshman quarterback. They lost Francois at the Alabama game, and what do you see out of him so far?
See a lot of grit, toughness. I see a guy who's got tremendous ball passing skills. You know, deep ball accuracy. Well, I'll just say accuracy. Period. I mean, every time he locked in, I knew he knew where he was going with the ball. He was on the button. There might have been 1 or 2 stray balls, but for the most part, he could put it on the money. And you know, it's always difficult to be a true freshman and try to process all the information that Jimbo's capable of giving him, you know. And so that's the thing that I'm sure they're trying to figure out, how much do we give him, how much do we not give him, because you don't want to overload a guy, but on the other hand, you don't want to get too simplistic where it makes it easier to defend you. So you know, it's tough to play a true freshman, quite frankly.
Well, it's a big week. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know it's going to be a lot of great preparation and a lot of talking, but Miami and Florida State, it's always great, and I know the country will be looking forward to it, as we will as well, and the very best of luck, Coach.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right, that's University of Miami head coach Mark Richt. For Don Bailey Jr., I'm Joe Zagacki, and we'll see you next time right here on the Mark Richt Show.